goes off the board. So for TT, if they want to get that Poppy, which I feel like we've been seeing has been so dominant since it's kind of risen in prominence. Great first pick by TT to just shut down, I mean, almost every meta champion, right? It feels like almost everything has a dash now, and just her ability to control the early game and control fights is unmatched.
Yeah, absolutely crucial pick here for TT and Beichuan. We'll have a much better time of it in the early jungle matchup. That said, though, Trundle, definitely a good answer into the Poppy and the Sivir that we saw banned before, now locked in by Eric. Still going to have that poke damage in the bottom lane, but also will be able to just one-shot minion waves.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it in teamfights, right? The amount of shred that it does have. So that's a nice pickup for the side of LGD. Now for TT, we're going to want to match bot lane. Aphelios going to be the expected pick to come through. We do still have things like Sylas open as well, which we actually surprisingly didn't see have a lot of prio in that first game. And I think a lot of that does come down to Ucal with his specific preference towards this Ryze, but it is still something that would also be incredibly powerful in either team's hands.
Certainly could be. Renata, is it something that they're willing to lock in? Nope. No, it's not. Leona being hovered says to me that they want some hard engage. Yeah, we'll just go with that one in the end. He was on the Nautilus last time around. It was JinJiao on the Leona. Gwen, a pick that slipped through the draft in game number 1 thanks to the Fiora and the Renekton being taken up on the top side. But you know what? A lot of our Fiora players in the LPL also love the Gwen. I feel like these two champions go hand in hand.
And for LGD, just so far, kind of setting themselves up for a very strong 5v5. You have this double front line in the Gwen and Trundle in the Sivir, just offering so much AoE shred across all targets. Now for LGD, you can start to look to ban out some of these, you know, safer top lane picks, even if it has been hit, wanting to take Gnar off the board. And I'm happy that TT took that away. Yuumi traditionally being the thing I feel like we're seeing paired with Sivir the most. Both Yuumi and Sivir did take a small hit on this patch, but still not wanting to give over that combo, so LGD can just run you down. It's a great start.
It certainly is. There's a lot of speed, isn't there? There's a lot of just, like, Trundle's already hella quick with a Sivir on top of that. Gwen already uses the Ghost, already uses a lot of speed with the dashes as well. Feels kind of scary for TT if they're ever on the back foot. Cannon taken off the board, though, just trying to deny some of these top laners that will do well into the Gwen, whereas TT removing the enchanters away from this Sivir. So I'm really curious how the second half of this draft is going to pan out, Lyric, because, you know, we need a support still on LGD side. That's not going to be the most exciting pick, but the mid laner could be curious here with the Lulu band away.
I'm just most curious to see what TT end up answering with in terms of top lane, but LGD, not too many support options left open. We do have Nautilus, we do have Renata, kind of two of our staple picks to come through. And, I mean, then we're going to be over to the side of TT, who, like I'm saying, with the Gnar and Kennen both banned out, with GP taking a bit of a hit in the early game, I think not too many great options left into the Gwen. You always could go back to a more traditional counter like the Jax, which is something we obviously used to see quite a bit of. And I feel like would fit XiaXiang's wheelhouse of how we used to see him play when he was on EDG. But now it's his time to step up.
Could be a Sylas top. We've seen the Sylas top that was picked into... I can't remember. It was picked as a counter to
Gnar.
Gnar,
It's usually,
I think.
Yep. Usually picked into the Gnar matchup. I think would be a little bit annoying into the Gwen, and just her being able to look to outmatch you. And ooh, that is also a matchup we used to see quite a bit of if they did decide to lock this in. Again, Jax, Akali, some of these more, I don't want to say obscure counter picks, but not like generalist champions like Gnar serves as, where you can just kind of do a lot of different things, wear many different hats. And now for LGD, it's about looking towards the mid lane and what they want to match potentially into this Sylas pick. I would expect Ucal to be the one piloting that. And so far, hovering some fun picks. And when it comes to Yeji, we kind of hit on, right? A lot more of a roaming mid laner. So him ending up locking in the Ryze, I think it makes a lot more sense to what he's shown us in his LPL career so far.
Man, what I wouldn't give to have seen the Ace lock in right there. Takes me back to the days of Teacher Bar. But before I can go too far down memory lane, I feel like this is going to be a really interesting one for TT because, you know, game number 1 fell behind early on. They were going for a very much like front-to-back team fight composition, whereas this time around, They have all kinds of skirmishing power with the Sylas and an Akali in their solo lanes. They still have the scaling for the Aphelios, but this is going to be a very different top side coming out from TT.
Yeah, they're really scrappy. You know, once you get those level 6s online, we want to see them fighting a ton of mobility, looking for flanks, finding access into the back line. I definitely think they have options to where it's LGD this time, wanting that more traditional front to back. You have your big tanks. You have the Sivir, who's going to be able to safely walk up and try and get all this AoE down. It's just about if they can keep Eric safe and not allow Ucal and XiaXiang to reign supreme with those flanks.
Yeah, we'll see if the flanks can come on through. Ucal has been kind of the king of roaming as of late, and he's up against the Ryze, but he's on Sylas. So if he can hit level 6 just before Yeji, he will have that small window where he can realm warp and Yeji can't. Could be an interesting one to watch out as we see LGD up against TT. It's so good to be back in the arena once again, to see the players on the stage and see the light show as we head on to Summoner's Rift once more. LGD 1-0 up in this series. A surprising win, honestly, in game number 1. Not a win I necessarily anticipated coming into today. I would have said that TT were the favorites. And now TT have it all on the line. They want to make playoffs. They want to get 8 wins. And they will need to win this series if they're going to make that happen.
And for LGD right now, sitting in 15th at 2-9. Surprisingly, still technically not eliminated because so much of their schedule is backloaded into these last 2 weeks of the split. Counting this series, they actually still have 5 series left. So, yeah, quite a bit of games for the side of LGD. Some kind of miracle run.
Yeah.
Not probable, but possible. And
Not
that's what we'd like to hear.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to say it. And I just want to point out as well, like you said, 5 games or 5 series remaining, including this one. We're already in week 9. Like, that's 5 series over 2 weeks. LGD have a hell of a schedule ahead of them.
That's 1/3 of their schedule. That's 1/3 of their split in 2 weeks.
In the last 2 weeks, in the last 5th of the split, it's kind of insane. And, you know, it's just one of those things with 17 teams in the league. The schedule is always going to be somewhat uneven. Sometimes it's the other teams that end up with a lot of games towards the end or a lot of games at the start. Quite often you'll see a team soaring ahead of everyone in the standings, but it turns out they've just played 3 more series than everyone else. So just the nature of a round robin. But LGD will have their work cut out. As you say, it ain't over until it's over. Let's look at the early game, though, here, Lyric, because we've got Beichuan on the Poppy, we've got Shadow on the Trundle. Shadow with the counter pick. After how game number 1 went, I've got to say I'm much preferring the Trundle to the Poppy here.
And I'm curious to see what he does because, I mean, you have some lanes that should be able to generate some semblance of early pressure. I mean, you have Ryze against Sylas early, having a bit of that range. You could look to try to trade and, you know, whittle him down. Gwen will do well into Akali until she starts getting some levels under her belt where you can look to be a nuisance with that Shroud. But so far, Shadow actually going to be playing down towards his bottom side, which I think a lot more safety coming out, right? Sivir Braum, you shouldn't really expect too much action to be coming through. But when you have the lockdown with the Leona to potentially set up for a gank from Beichuan, maybe Shadow gonna look to cover any shenanigans from coming through.
Yeah, XiaXiang doing a good job to position the wave defensively here, not letting it go fully underneath the tower. The wave will catch that. Here we go, though. As you say, Shadow moving into the bottom side. Beichuan doing the same. We're going to have a 3v3 on our hands. Good little spell shield from Eric. Zenith Blade goes wide. That's the end of the play from the side of TT. Is it the end of the play from LGD, though, as JinJiao walks forward? It's tense, but I don't think anything's going to come of this.
No, I mean, right, Wave's pushing into the side of TT. They're playing pretty reserved and pretty far back. Maybe TT finds something in mid. Nope, much.
Does dodge away. He's fine.
I was going to say, we had Zenith Blade missing bot. We had Abscond Abduct missing mid. I like TT's, like, proactivity, that they're trying to find these plays and trying to leverage some of the early skirmishing power to come through, but just not able to connect with the ability so far. And now, funnily enough, both junglers can end up pathing towards that top side. So we have potential for another possibility of a skirmish to come through.
Yeah, we'll have to see if it's going to kick off on the top side, I will say. At this point in the game, I definitely lean the way of the Gwen, not the Akali. Akali, typically one of these champions that takes a little bit of time. You want to get an item or so, or at least a few levels, crucially, before you're going to start hitting like a truck. Whereas the Gwen, kind of just obnoxious all game long. So perhaps could be an advantage for the side of LGD. A quieter start to the game, though. Obviously, we've seen some presence from our junglers, but nowhere near the level of presence that we saw in game number 1 with Fearness going for the early invade, with Beichuan just being completely bullied out by LGD. A much more level playing field now.
Yeah, and I mean, right, that game just shows the impact that a level 1 can have, right? A level 1 can completely just decide a game like it did in game 1. For this game, a lot less shenanigans. And when we look at even potential action trying to come through, right, it's actually really hard to lock down numerous champions on both sides. I mean, Poppy, Akali, not really a great way of locking down Gwen. Same thing goes for LGD and locking down an Akali, though. Ucal has the absconded duck. Just not too much hard CC really coming out, and a lot of mobility on both sides actually might prevent any early kills from coming through until we have neutral objectives on the board.
That will certainly be a different pace of game, but we are going to have the first neutral objective spawning as the Dragon now on the map. Fearness manages to get wide of the Shuriken there. I think if that had landed, could have been an angle for XiaXiang, honestly, to get under the tower, go for the ignite, try and find a solo kill, because he's still very healthy. TP available here for Fearness. We'll have to use this just to catch the wave underneath the tower. As XiaXiang doing a really good job of pressuring early on. I said the Akali needs some time. Apparently, I was very wrong.
We saw Fearness able to pressure in those first few levels, but once XiaXiang was able to hold the wave near his tower, like you pointed out earlier, he was able to build up a massive wave, and that's kind of how this matchup goes. I mean, if you're able to find wave control right, very hard to trade into a stacked wave coming into you, and now you're at a point of XiaXiang where you could always use the E to dodge out on like a full stacked Q from coming through, and then look for the re-engage with the second proc of your E.
Shadow doing a good job to defend his vision here. As you say, neutral objectives are the name of the game in this early game here. Dragon is on the map, but neither team particularly keen on trying to start that one off for the time being. They don't want to go too far. And this is kind of what we saw in game number 1, right? Where both of these teams kind of cautious to be too overzealous on objectives, not wanting to be the ones caught out. Eric with another nice spell shield here. Big damage onto Yaoyao.
And I think it comes down to, I mean, both teams have stellar scaling on their sides, right? I mean, Aphelios, Sylas, Akali, all going to be able to do phenomenal things in the late game. And then you look at LGD, same goes true for them. Sivir, Gwen, Trundle, Ryze, all of them going to be incredibly potent. So neither team really feeling like they need to over-invest too much. We do see TT doing a nice job of getting some deep vision in the bot side. And I mean, LGD responding in kind. A bit of a trade side coming out so far in terms of where teams are allocating their pressure and allocating their vision.
Go, JinJiao and Eric gonna have to defend themselves. As we said it'd be later on, it's gonna be right now. Eric slammed against the wall, and look at the damage onto him. Ignite burning, and Kepler with first blood. But Yeji here to try and answer. JinJiao moving forward, but Ucal denies it, goes back in himself. He's 3 levels up on the enemy support and finds himself the kill. Went way too deep for it, but he finds the kill no less.
Honestly, I don't know if that was worth for Ucal coming through. Wanting to go incredibly aggressive, uses his own flash, finds the kill. I guess for the side of LGD, they did also blow their summoners as well. And I mean, at the end of the day, right, TT coming up 2 kills for 1. So nice proactivity coming out from TT when we thought it'd have to be a neutral objective, pulling these teams into a fight. And we'll go straight into the replay to see here. Spell Shield comes out from Eric, but now having no mana, we see that Beichuan's able to lock him down against the wall. And even with Kepler being exhausted, still having enough damage to be able to take him down. And then Ucal takes away JinJiao's ultimate, finds the opportunity since he does connect with the abscond of Duck, and then wanting to finish it off. But with Yeji being there and also the turret ramping damage, there's no way he was going to escape Munch. He was done, he was gone.
I feel like Ucal just feeling a little hard done by that he wasn't a part of the initial kill onto Eric. Just wanted to be a part of something. But he ends up trading his own life for a kill onto Yeji. So ultimately, both mid laners walking away with a kill. So in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really change the trade that significantly. Kepler now, off the back of this reset, you can see the bottom lane for LGD moving towards the mid lane. They're going for a Herald, right? They get themselves that Herald, but Kepler just grabbing 2 plates off the back of it. If Beichuan can escape as well, this would be a very good trade for TT, especially if they can deny the gold from that Herald.
Yeah, so far, I mean, just coming up pretty well, right? Not only getting those plates down, but also getting vision, stealing away jungle camp. So at least able to match whatever impact that Herald's going to have, and now it sets them up for plays like this. Since they have vision, LGD have to go back and answer that wave. It allows for TT to get in the enemy jungle first. Oh,
here we go. Flash is coming out already. Ucal stealing away the subjugation. JinJiao's gone. Like a magic trick, he vanishes before your very eyes. Beichuan says, see you later, Shadow. We're done with this play. Over to the blue buff and over to the Drake for TT.
TT got the setup while LGD were looking for that Herald, and that setup paying off in the spades. Not going to be able to take this Scuttle Crab, potentially even look for a Drake after they get some of these waves sorted. But LGD doing a nice job of committing so many resources to pushing out mid, which makes it really hard for LGD to just look to outright start the Drake, and heck, even get some plates of their own.
Do you know, I think one of the biggest things that viewers at home can do to figure out what analysts are talking about a lot of the time is resources. While it seems like that would be like, you know, on Stellaris, that would be minerals and alloys. Or in Civ, that would be food and things. In League of Legends, it's people most of the time, honestly.
Yeah.
When people refer to committing resources to something. Great little stun coming out from Beichuan there, just denying any escape with the steadfast presence as well.
And all of it coming from the setup. And like you're saying, right? I mean, control. League of Legends is all about controlling like space on the map, which typically comes from either having stronger champions or the ability to push to get numbers advantage and have more people there first. So TT so far have been doing a great job of keeping up this pressure, and this is one of the things that shifted when they made the roster changes, was especially Yaoyao, Ucal, and Beichuan just working together incredibly well, constantly linking up, and being kind of reminding me of how 2020 Summer V5 would play in terms of like being a mid-jungle support team, just constantly roaming around looking for these opportunities.
That's a needlework in the top side from Fearness. Perhaps a defensive one to stop XiaXiang all-inning him.
No.
But now he's got reinforcements. The Shuriken flip ain't going to save you now, XiaXiang. But maybe Beichuan is. Pushes Fearness back underneath the tower. And now he's going to halt the wave. So there's no way for LGD to re-dive.
I love it. I love that Beichuan just flashes in, yeets Fearness back in under his own turret. And, I mean, opens up for TT to win on other places on the map. So sure, it's a 1-for-1 overall, and you can think it's a wash, but look at mid, look at bot. TT using the fact that they have the information of where members of LGD are to find advantages in other places.
Really nice stuff here from TT. Good to see them being proactive here in game number 2. After how the first game of this series went, it was honestly not looking good for TT. But now, 11 minutes in, they're 1,000 gold up, 4-2 on the scoreboard, and it feels like they're making much better plays around the map this game.
And we're going to go back to see what happened topside, because some heavy trading coming through. Fearness, I mean, doing a nice job of connecting a lot of these abilities. Pops a needlework because you want to try and just shunk XiaXiang low because you already know you're committing Yeji and Shadow up to the top side for the play. So we see him try to escape, but he is able to get the CC out from Yeji. But Beichuan, like I said, Flash E, eats Fearness right back under the turret and takes him down.
That was so satisfying to watch. And then, you know, stopping the wave as well so that he can't then be redived. Really, really nice stuff from Beichuan. And a much-needed good game after how badly game number 1 went for him as well. Like, Beichuan was the one that fell so far behind in the early game, and it meant TT basically couldn't function. Now, 2-0-1, has his mythic finished already. Now trying to find vision control of that dragon area. But a good little ward there. Cheeky ward from JinJiao over the wall. Don't think that one was spotted. Also
funny how even with the buffs to neutrals, in this series at least, we haven't really seen that impact anything. And I mean, we also have to remember, right, like dragons did also gain more health, so that they also do take a little bit longer to go for. But I need to pause fights.
All in on the top side of the fight. Moonlight Vigil across them. Shadow low on HP. A good defensive ulti though comes on out from JinJiao to protect his team. This is why you lock in a Braum, and here comes the Sivir, the bottom lane from LGD, smurfing the fight.
Yeah, we just saw the amount of damage Eric able to do, but XiaXiang,
he flashes away. Perfect execution. XiaXiang 1v1ing a Sivir. It's always going to look good for the Akali.
Great buy TT to at least find one in response. I mean, JinJiao did a great job with his ultimate to buy space for the members of LGD to make that happen, but not enough in the end. And TT also the ones to pick up that first Drake, so can start making their way to stacking some of these up. and building those enhanced bonuses. We're going to get straight into 3-play. I mean, TT already took the Drake by the time this came through, and then a nice coordinated engage comes through onto the members of LGD. But we see here, Yeji putting off a solid amount of damage, JinJiao able to have a really impactful ultimate, and then shield to force the members of TT out, and Eric the whole time just throwing out these autos, hitting the ricochet, and bringing the members of TT down.
So I didn't see this the first time we watched the fight, but Gwen moved on over here and immediately just got yeeted out of the fight once again by Beichuan. As Fearness pops his first needlework, you just see the hammer fly out from Beichuan and send Fearness back towards his base. Doesn't even get to participate. So not a very fair fight for LGD there. Nicely played by TT. Maintaining their advantage, about 1,000, but that advantage has shrunk ever so slightly from earlier on in the game. LGD certainly nowhere near as far behind as their opponents were in game 1. Kepler, nice positioning there to dodge the Q from JinJiao.
I also think when we just look at the state of the game, the gold lead was about similar early on in the other one, but mythics were all built on the side of LGD, not for TT. But we're coming into this game, both sides having their mythics, and LGD look for a dive onto Ucal, but no wave.
No wave yet, but it's on its way, and Yeji just one-shots minions at this point, so Ucal has to get out of there. Crown on cooldown, so he is very killable at this point, and the pressure from JinJiao and Shadow should be enough for Yeji to be able to just muscle his way in and finish this tower off alongside Shadow. In fact, Shadow far better at taking towers than Yeji is, so he's going to get involved and help chomp that one out. I have to say, can't be good for his teeth. Poor old Trundle biting a stone tower like that, that's going to hurt.
Nah, there's just some people who are built different. Reminds me of, you know what, actually...
Where do you go with this? Who else can bite stone?
Actually, we're not going to go down whatever tangent I was going to bring us down, because look, DT Munchables, they picked up a tower that is 10 times more important than anything I have to say.
Okay, well, I'm not even sure what the reference was that you were going to go into. But
it's not even an inside joke between us. It's just an inside reference in my mind that should not be said. And, you know, here we are. Here we are, the beautiful, I think it's a Wednesday, 3:30 a.m. where I am. Great League of Legends going on. Day with Munchables.
It's 11:24 where I am, and when I got up this morning, it was raining. The sky was full of black clouds. It was miserable outside, and then I got on Discord with Mr. Lyric, and ever since then, the sun has come out. The churds are burping. It's a beautiful day.
I do love when the churds do burp, as you know, Munch, you know.
Yeah, that wasn't misspeaking. This just it's a term over in Blighty. I wouldn't expect you to understand over in the colonies. 5-3 on the scoreboard. And it's been a fairly slow game. It has to be said, Lyric. It has been a pretty slow game. But LGD, you know, with a Sivir, with a Ryze, I feel like they've kind of taken some of the comfort away from TT here as well. But Ucal on that Sylas is going to be doing all right. Crowns on both sides of the mid lane matchup is not something I like to see. I want to see aggressive mid laners, but both of them going with the crown. I feel like Ucal last game, I'm pretty sure went Everfrost on the Ryze, so Yeji bringing his own style there, as XiaXiang will be safe. He'll just jump over the wall, jumps back over the wall. Shadow's in trouble instead, finds the 1v1. XiaXiang smurfing on the Akali. You love to see it.
XiaXiang just knowing the limits of his champion on this one. Fearness not able to join in because, oh, wait, Beichuan now.
Oh, double knock-up. There's Moonlight Vigil with the Gravitum as well. Eric's in trouble. Beichuan can't get the last auto. And Eric slides away with his infinite movement speed, but the flash shield combo. It's Boomerang City here as Beichuan grabs one. XiaXiang trying to follow up, but it's another pickup here. TT speeding up the pace.
I know we were just saying this is a bit of a slower one, but TT forcing the action now. Gonna be able to stop Yeji in the spot side, and with Dragon up, you'd expect TT to look to go for that one, but Yeji needs to be careful. Does have Realm Warp available, so I feel like that's why he's playing with so much confidence, especially as well. Just did pop the Ghost because he does have that instilled Spellbook, but Yaoyao's still curious.
Yeah, Yaoyao trying to move over, but ultimately, the perfect execution was now, right? Fearness, though, using it. There's needleworks everywhere. So many needles. I don't even know who's winning. Ucal walks away with his life, but he's surrounded. Needs another needlework. Needs to find the big damage here. Kingslayer to keep himself alive, but he's got no mana. It's freak all over again right here as Fearness starts to cut him down. But Ucal with another Kingslayer and a flash somehow escapes.
And I mean, at the end of the day, right, Shadow also blew his flash, so just flash for flash coming out. You traded ults with the enemy top laner, so not too much, like, net positive or loss for the side of TT there, despite the fact that Ucal honestly was just pushed up too far with where the other members of his team were. And now TT gonna be able to bank off so many members of LGD showing topside by picking up this turret as well.
Now to the mid lane go LGD. They want to answer. They need to get something of their own because we've gone from a 1,000 gold lead to almost 4,000 in favor of TT over the last couple of minutes, and it will be minimized a little, down to 3,000 off the back of that tower from LGD. Okay, let's reset for a second here. We've got to replay it, and then we'll talk about the match state.
Yeah, we're going to get to see how XiaXiang pulls this off once again. Throws out the Q, follows back in with the E, of course, having the extended range and damage from the passive, and just very easily able to follow that one through with his ultimate. But Beichuan here, I love the confidence to go and finds the knock-up onto Eric, is then able to use the ult to get a second knock-up as well. And does get brought down, is stunned by JinJiao's passive, but still flashes in with the passive coming through to get the damage down. And overall, just nice aggression coming out from the side of TT.
Yeah, really, really good stuff coming out from TT, and refreshing after what we saw in game number 1. I have to say, though, for the side of LGD, we said, you know, we need to see replication of that game 1 performance. We are not seeing it. They are being outplayed in this early game by TT. And it's a tough one. It's a difficult position, and it's the nature of when you go for these blind picks. You know, game number 1, they had the blind pick Fiora and managed to make that work. But here, game number 2, the blind pick Gwen not having anywhere near as much impact.
No, and especially with XiaXiang just maneuvering this counter pick so well. Fearness not really having too many opportunities to find access into fights. But hey, we're going to get to see both of them continue to skirmish, but Yeji's coming in.
They'll both just back away there. Basically no damage. How does Gwen and Akali trading that heavily lead to no damage between them? Tower goes down. Realm warp out from Yeji. See you later, TT, says LGD. They grab a tower for nothing. They'll be very happy with that trade. Pings on the top side, though. Does LGD try and maintain control?
So, XiaXiang's TP will be up soon, and then they'll have a small window where they do have that TP advantage. I feel like we don't see teams utilize TP advantage as much to split as this season as like we have in the past, but right, theoretically TT can try to pull members of LGD across the map and then look to TP either Ucal or XiaXiang over to have a numbers advantage in free to play. But for now, we're just gonna get a bit of sneakiness, Munchables.
Yes, we are. Oh, no more sneakiness. as soon as we mention it, it's immediately spotted on both sides of the Scryzorb. Hits Yaoyao and Beichuan as well. Chickens will be finished off. And gold lead back down to 2,000. It's a very even one here. Like, I feel like if you look at the scoreboard at the bottom on where the kills are and, you know, that kind of stuff, it looks very one-sided to TT. But honestly, 2,000 gold at 22 minutes, this could go either way. And so much of it will be down to these AD carries. Can they survive? Because Fearness on the Gwen, diving that backline. Kepler is going to be in trouble. Does not have one of those peel supports that he's going to have got so used to with the recent meta. Whereas on the other side, Eric, a similar story against XiaXiang, against Ucal, but he's got JinJiao by his side on the Braum.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when you look at these comps and how we've seen the gameplay out so far, right? Because both teams have like soul laners that feel confident, feel comfortable in the side lane. So we're not really seeing advantages built up too much that way. And they've really only been looking for it by bringing another member over. Like we've seen Fearness and Yeji TP to the other side of the map to make plays. We saw when XiaXiang found the solo kill, Ucal TPing to that side. So it really feels like the difference maker is going to be those team fights. And for me, that is either just going to be, can XiaXiang and Ucal find access onto Eric, or is JinJiao and Shadow going to do a great job of shutting them down? We saw JinJiao have a really impactful ultimate earlier, Hopefully he can find another one so LGD can find success.
Beichuan really doesn't want to lose priority here. Everyone jumps in. Inferno across the team. TT seem to be winning out. XiaXiang in the back line here. Uses the perfect execution, but left out by his team. Dashes back out. Shadow low on HP. Knocking one sailing as Kepler with the damage. TT taking over the fight. Yeji too far forward and taken down. It's TT with a 2-for-1.
LGD regretting going so far forward. I feel like Kepler's ultimate got so much benefit hitting across numerous members, and now TT gonna look to start on the Baron. LGD just giving it up, moving down towards the bot side to pick up a dragon for themselves.
I can't believe the respect coming out from LGD here, not willing to contest. They'll go for the Drake. Obviously, they did lose their jungler here, but ultimately, you'd expect a team to try and fight for that Baron. Ultimately, they'll take the Drake, though. And it's down to TT now. How much can they get off of this Baron?
I think they should be able to get a decent amount with that side lane push they do have. But we're going to go back to see here. LGD trying to force their way into bot side river. Beichuan and Yaoyao immediately looking for the engage. And it just kind of funnels everyone in for a big Moonlight Vigil. And then the ultimate from JinJiao not able to do enough. But now Fearness.
Lyrics, I think we might be going to 3 games here, because with Baron...
Oh!
XiaXiang missed the Shuriken. Here we go, needlework from Ucal. Gwen has been out-needled. Ucal grabs the kill here. JinJiao, I mean, he's totally alone here. There's not much he's going to be able to do on this one on the Braum. And now, with a man advantage and Baron buff, TT can take over this Baron.
Yeah, TT just able to play out through 2 lanes. We're seeing their soul laners constantly shadow for each other while you have this 3-man core in mid. Because sure, Kepler might not have like appealing support. You have a Poppy right alongside you. Steadfast presence and the ultimate to be able to do so much to keep them at bay.
Ucal to flash. There's 3 people here. It's a good knockup from JinJiao. But LGD can't go too far as Beichuan. I think he was looking to flank behind the tower for a second there. Ucal back in the lane as they continue to push. TT went down to the mid lane. So Eric clearing that wave. And LGD, they're starting to get spread thin here. They're starting to get split apart on the map.
Hey, Munchables, I'll sell some hope, because if LGD can hold out and stack up 4 Drakes, that would be 36% bonus armor and MR now. That's a ton.
On to the team from Eric. I will say Eric is going to be a monster later on. Again, with that Braum next to him. Sivir Braum is a hard combo to deal with. TT getting chased down. Solar Flare comes out. Fearness jumps in 1v4 here, but he is playing Gwen. Kepler in trouble, but flashes out to safety. Ucal now has to buy space. Great little Braumel out from Ucal, and TT turn it around once again. It looked like LGD had an opportunity, but all they had was opportunities for TT. Another 2 picks, and TT can keep the ball rolling.
Fearness just going so aggressive. Gets pretty much picked off so early on into that fight. You can see how hard it is for Eric to find any ways to impact a fight when you do have so much mobility and lockdown on the side of TT. But at the end of the day, you still are only a 500 range AD carry. And without that shred coming through from the Ricochet, it really just feels like LGD not having enough in the tank to compete with all the angles, all the ways that TT can find these skirmishes.
Yeah, feels like a tough one here for LGD, especially with the way they've been playing out the map. But crucially, fights like that do stop TT pushing with Baron buff in the short term. So, silver linings for LGD. As Fearness, like you say, just going a little too deep on this one.
Yeah, we see Yaoyao's ultimate kind of buying time and locking numerous members down. And then Fearness, once he does get locked down, I mean, the other members have just arrived, not really able to get any damage off because the whole time Ucal was off to the side and had the ability to jump on, you know, someone say like Eric to be able to find that damage. So LGD sadly not really able to follow up on the engage that Fearness found, and Fearness not having anywhere near the same impact that he did in game 1.
I have to say, I feel like Yaoyao's been pretty on it on this Leona as well. Like, consistently landing these solar flares. Very willing to go in as well. Like, quite often you see Leonas that'll drop a solar flare but not really follow up on it. I feel like Yaoyao just goes in, drops a solar flare, and hopes the rest of the squad is on board. It feels like this game the squad has been on board. It feels like whoever is saying go, Yaoyao goes and the rest of the team follows up. So, pleasure to watch him on this Leona.
It's crazy, honestly, to see like how solid and good Yaoyao's been this split, considering that like we had Yaoyao in the league last year. His name was Pudding. He played on TT. He played with Sam D, like that iteration of TT. And yeah, that iteration of TT was not good. Longxing, Xiaopeng captain, Sam D, no, did not work out. Yaoyao himself didn't really look that good. now coming in onto this squad, I feel like Yaoyao really has just been one of the standout performers.
I will say, this year, much better gameplay as Yaoyao. Last year, much better name as Pudding. You know,
Yeah.
That's the trade that you got to make. It's the trade you got to make. Deal with the devil. Been made here by Yaoyao. As they threaten onto the tier 2 on the top side, but Fearness is currently clearing waves in the mid lane, but it doesn't matter. You've got a Sivir. When the Baron isn't there, honestly, it's so impossible for TT to siege.
Yeah, TT not really having any opportunities. I mean, when you're such a short-range composition, you rely on those neutral objectives, like you're saying. You rely on ways to pull LGD out of their base to create opportunities for a fight. LGD doing a nice job of not necessarily getting baited into anything in their own jungle. You kind of have to accept, like, hey, we're going to lose our camps. We're going to fall even further behind in gold. But maybe it buys us time to find a more advantageous fight later on, especially with Eric being at 3 items. But Eric...
No. Ucal got spotted there. Eric's going to be able to just walk on forwards. Ucal knows he's in all kinds of trouble. The TP comes on through, though. It's going to be too late, and this might turn into another pick instead. XiaXiang immediately dips out of the play. See you later, guys, says XiaXiang. I'm out of here.
XiaXiang escapes. LGD will be able to get a tower off of this on top of the kill they picked up. We see TT responding on the bottom side of the map with a Drake of their own. But still, nice little find by LGD when they have just been slowly falling behind.
Remember, they have the bounties as well, but wave will be cleared by TT in the end. And I feel like this is more LGD responding to the potential Drake that was going to come out from TT, right? Inevitably, TT were going to go for this Drake. I love the play from LGD. Finding a pick, finding a shutdown, I believe, as well, that Eric was able to pick up. So really, really nice influx of gold on the Sivir, which is a champion. Look how tanky this Drake is, man. I'm just going to stop talking about Sivir. This is taking Beichuan so long to finish off. It's like dealing with Herald.
Yeah, I mean, right? Just one of those changes you can see the impact of. And that's why coming into the day, we kind of speculated of what prios and what presence is really going to change. Is, you know, kind of the added benefits of an individual Drake buff, which can stack up incredibly fast. I mean, heck, like 1 Cloud Drake now is worth what 2 Cloud Drakes was before. Or if things like the more HP on Drake and it taking longer could maybe, you know, deter you a little bit from wanting to go for that. And it could be a bait for the enemy team to have time to set up for that fight, right? So today, definitely going to be a learning experience overall. Get a good view of what this patch will look like in pro play. Heck, though, honestly, maybe it won't because it's day 1, right? I feel like it'll take maybe 2-3 weeks before we have a good portrait of what the patch and what the meta should look like.
I mean, not even a ban on Neela just yet. Like, Neela has been totally ignored. Neela is currently available in the LPL, but neither team even remotely interested in trying that one in pro play just yet. I am really curious what that champion is going to do to pro play if she does sneak in, because the XP passive on that champion,
yeah,
man, that could really change things up. That could, I mean, she's incredibly impressive when she gets ahead, but she is one of those champions. It's kind of like Yasuo ADC, where you either go 10-1 or you go 1-10. Like, there really is not much of a middle.
No, but volatility. I mean, if there's one thing that the LPL knows and loves, it is that. And I mean, heck, two kind of volatile teams on our screen. I feel like TT especially. I mean, the ups and downs that they're able to go through, pretty insane. I mean, heck, we look at from game 1 to game 2, night and day performance coming out so far for 2 teams who are fighting for their lives, fighting for everything, fighting to put bread on the table.
Well, I feel like the teams in the team houses will put bread on the table for them, although probably in the form of rice rather than bread.
I was going to say probably rice, but yeah.
Based on my experience of China, it's a lot of rice. Like, rice every meal. I like rice. I don't like rice as much as they do, I will say. It's a little too much rice for me. TT, look at this weird position. They're just having Aphelios solo the Baron, while everyone just forms this defensive line across the jungle to deny anything. LGD TPing to the mid lane. And yeah, you'll get mid prio, but I don't know if they are even aware that they've lost the Baron.
I mean, whether they're aware or not, like, sure, LGD... Oh, Beichuan!
Beichuan wants a 3v4 here. and actually almost kills JinJiao. LGD walk away with their lives, but look at this. They've bought mid priority. There's a wave moving up that mid lane, and TT can just jump onto that next wave immediately. LGD have got to get back to their base to defend. TT changing things up. They're moving up to the top side instead.
I'm just so surprised by how much distance Beichuan covers every time. I feel like he has a Weaver's Wall of his own with the flash into the E. Like, my God.
He's so insanely fast. And honestly, the force of nature as well will help with that. He's got some bonus fast trousers in his inventory as well.
The winged moon plates.
They're called fast trousers, I'll have you know, Lyric.
Honestly,
I know you call them pants.
Better name.
I wouldn't expect you to understand over in the colonies, okay?
Oh, God. Is this going to keep up all day?
Look at, yeah, I guess so. XiaXiang once again in trouble. Once again, perfect execution out of the play, but knocked up here. LGD desperate for something. They have to find a silver lining here, but XiaXiang once again escapes. Ucal now diving on top of Shadow, who's stuck in the side of Raptors and has to flash out himself. And LGD, they just can't find a single pick.
Oh, and TP coming in for XiaXiang. He wants to rejoin the fight.
XiaXiang just is not afraid at all. Gets out with his life once again off the back of a TP. Drake up in a second. TT not interested. They're going for the base right here, forcing the recalls out from LGD, but these recalls are going to be too late.
I mean, think about what we've been seeing, right? LGD's comp doesn't have like a ton of like instant lockdown or a ton of great CC, and you have double mobile assassins on the side of TT, just so easily able to escape. Like you have Braum. You have Braum's ultimate. I mean, Braum's passive takes time. Like, it just feels so hard for LGD to be able to lock these members down. And XiaXiang continuing to play on a knife's edge. With Dragon spawning in 15 seconds, this will be soul for TT.
It certainly would be, if they can get it. But as you say, LGD can do well in an actual 5v5 if they ever get it. And now perhaps a chance onto XiaXiang, but we've said that before this game. And there goes Ucal. The Ryze is out of the play, but it doesn't matter. Look at the damage coming out from Eric. He goes down. XiaXiang answers it, but it's 2v1. And LGD find an opportunity finally. They're onto the Drake. Beichuan is down. Ucal trying to contest. Got a needle work for himself. That's big damage. Kepler moving forwards as well. 3v4 TT. Charge on in. They are not afraid of the numbers as they tear through LGD. Gravitum to lock Yeji up. 3 kills as Ucal turns it into 4. And TT will not be knocked out of playoffs just yet.
No, TT off the back of those kills, have minions pushing in mid, can make their way to take that Nexus. And Munch, it is a day for Game 3s.
It certainly is. I thought maybe LGD had found an opportunity there, but TT just annihilated them. Kepler moving forward. Yaoyao so willing to pull the trigger. And Ucal just finishing those kills off as well. The Nexus will fall. And TT manage to keep their dreams alive, pushes to 3 games.
I mean, TT, we saw the value coming out from the Sylas and the Akali. I mean, the Akali especially, like, props to XiaXiang. He had some, like, really cool outplays and solo kills like we saw in that top side. And at the same time, this game just reminds you of how much a nuisance Akali is. Even in 5v5s, right? We saw you drop the Shroud, and he's just like circling them like a shark. They can't hit him. They don't know where he is. And it just puts so much pressure on the enemy AD carry. And for LGD's composition, like 99% of their damage relied on that Sivir. And once Sivir goes down, it doesn't matter that you found 2 kills yourself. I mean, TT just have more sufficient damage, and they still have a front line on the board.
And the crazy thing as well is that, like, XiaXiang not necessarily, like, there was a couple of plays where XiaXiang was doing crazy damage, but like you say, circling like a shark, the amount of pressure XiaXiang was consistently putting on LGD, but also how slippery he was. Like, every time LGD tried to commit to killing XiaXiang on this Akali, he found a way to escape. So many times he would TP into the middle of the enemy team. He was TPing like he was playing Sejuani or something, but he's not. He's on the Akali, and then would somehow manage to make his way out. It's like Mission Impossible, honestly.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane to see. Again, especially a champion that we don't see all too much, and that, you know, who knows, again, with Gwen being picked, and with champions like GP and R being knocked down a little bit, I mean, could open up the possibilities for things like the Akali to rear their head in more. But so far overall, this series just being a series about top lane and about these more expressive top lane champion picks coming out and what these teams are able to do with them.
Yeah, very much so. Fearness not even remotely close to what he had in game number 1, right? On the Fiora, just dominated. Here on the Gwen, not so much. And I have to say, Ucal consistently getting better needleworks out of that ultimate across the course of the game. And crucially as well, I felt like at the end there, it was a little bit of Kepler versus Eric. And Eric absolutely annihilated Beichuan in that final fight. But then Ucal, Kepler, Yaoyao just dived on top of him. There's nothing he could do.
Yeah, I mean, by the time we had AD carries bringing out those infinity edges, they were definitely doing the brunt of the work. But it just felt like for Eric, I mean, never able to walk up in range to really just keep getting those ricochets out in team fights without the threat of Ucal, XiaXiang, and even Beichuan, right? Because, my God, Beichuan played this game like a madman. He was seriously going in at every opportunity he could. And, like, anytime he had his flash, it's like, I don't care. Flash E straight into the enemy team. He always would get chunk low and immediately have to run out, but he would put so much pressure on the side of LGD and give openings for his teammates to be able to find engages.
And crucially, if you get the knockup with the steadfast presence as well and the grounding, like, you set up for such a huge pick opportunity for your team. It's almost like hard C. I nearly forgot one of the C's. that the opponent has to kind of play into to make it work. It's really interesting to watch, but crucially, Beichuan looking pretty good on that Poppy. We're going to jump into a break, and then it's time for game number 3. Do not go anywhere.